Daman sir, shall I begin? We begin.
Yes, please go ahead.
A very pleasant evening to all the distinguished panelists and participants. Bharati Vidyapeeth's Institute of Computer Applications and Management BVI CAM, in association with Computational Intelligence Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Computer Society, chapter of IEEE Delhi section, System Man Technology Section Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Technology Engineering Management Society chapter of IEEE Delhi section, Communication Society of IEEE Delhi section, Consultants Network Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Life Member Affinity Group of IEEE Delhi section, Inter-Society Relations Standing Committee of IEEE Delhi section, Industry Relations and Special Interest Group on Humanitarian Technology Standing Committees of IEEE Delhi section, Region 10 of IEEE, with the associations Computer Society of India, Institute of Information Technology Professionals IITP, ISTE Delhi section, and IETE Delhi Center as technical collaborator, welcomes you all to the webinar on the topic IT Disaster Recovery Breaking Myths for Resilience. It is a moment of pride and honor to announce that we, with united hands, mark special contribution for the monumental occasion Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, an initiative to celebrate 75 years of glorious independence by organizing the thought-provoking sessions for a better future. This webinar is an initiative for the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Resilience has been described as the capacity for positive outcomes despite challenging or threatening circumstances. The webinar is based on 3 decades of hands-on IT experience of Nitin Vaidya sir. Nitin sir heads the business continuity services of an American MNC catering to India and WW accounts. The talk will focus on the myths around IT continuity and pitfalls of IT continuity journey. Under enthusiastic and over enthusiastic approaches, which led to cascading failures. This will be an interactive dialogue session followed by Q&A session. I would first take this opportunity to welcome amongst us our distinguished panelists for today. We are privileged to have amongst us a galaxy of experts. I welcome both our expert, Mr. Damandev Sood sir and Mr. Nitin Vaidya sir, with an e-bouquet. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nitin Vaidya sir heads the India operations of Business Continuity Services for a renowned IT service provider. He has rich experience of 3.5 decades in the industry. He handled various roles such as services delivery, project delivery, solution architecting, services sales, and business continuity. Also, talking about Damandev Sood sir. Daman sir chairs Computer Society Delhi section chapter and IEEE ambassador and international resilience trainer. He holds over 75,000 hours of training teaching experience. He has served various companies in various industry sectors in over 20 countries as trainer, consultant, auditor. The Mansur is an international speaker of repute and an author too. He has won multiple national and global awards. He has spent over 35 years in the industry and over 16 years in resilience. The Mansur is a member of IEEE Delhi section, Exicom, chair of the CS chapter, a senior member of IEEE and IEEE ambassador. He is a fellow of BCI, fellow of BCS, member of AIMA, and life member of CSI. Dear participants, this is live in interaction, so I welcome both my dignitaries and give them the house. Please, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Aish.
Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, which we are attempting to be in a style of live chat. And without spending any time on giving you any facts and figures, any discussions around business continuity or IT disaster recovery generally will start with so many companies failed in within 24 hours or 48 hours of having a disaster, etc., all that is easily available on the internet. So we are not going to spend any time on that. Nitin, before I start with the questions, if you do not mind, please tell us a little more about yourself.
Um, okay, so what do I say? See, I'm a hardcore engineering guy actually. If you see my, even if you see my headphone, if you see there's a, it's a cloth over here. This is there was a foam which was damaged, and I found that okay, the cost of foam is costlier than this headphone, so I made
Wow,
something of my own.
great.
So, that's one thing. That is the beginning of the whole story. That I'm a engineer at heart, and as far as the job, luckily it so happened that my job and my interests of engineering they have merged together. As far as continuity is concerned, I have started working into that arena way back in '95 onwards, when typically people did not know about knew about computers and all that, but that was the time I was you know working for some theories of continuity this way that way and all those kind of things. Thereafter I've been working in different roles, right, as a service engineer to the mainframe computers of Data General, then Digital Equipment, then IBM, and project deliveries and so on, etc., etc. But then ultimately when this came to year 2011, I was the first person to start my continuity services in my organization in India, and that is my formal beginning into this arena. But otherwise, as part of my delivery in the previous years, I've been part and parcel of great experiences of continuity. So this is the experience that I would like to share over the period of the years. I would like to share with all of you over here, and I feel it will be worth for some value from my side, maybe.
Great. Thank you very much. So recently I have developed a course recently, Nitin, and I was writing to my LinkedIn contacts last week to promote that course. And one senior person with the military background, he responded back like this. You people don't even see, check whom are you writing to? That was first sentence, and it's written, right? But I could sense the sense behind it. Second sentence is more important. Will you teach resilience to me? So I'm repeating. He is or was with the military background. Now I'll repeat the way I got it. Written sentence. Will you teach resilience to me? According to me, learning sharing is. So I just apologize politely to that person because I didn't want to continue with the debate. But learning sharing is forever, according to me. I'm a lifelong learner myself. Today, also, I'm sure I will pick up few points from you. By the way, good to admit, you started on continuity in 1995. I started perhaps 10 years later you than you after you. All right. So I'm not sure whether I'll be doing justification to asking questions to you, but that's what the role is today. I'm playing the role of the moderator. The first question that comes to mind Nitin, is what is continuity and how is it different from business continuity?
Okay, there are. Let's go into a bit of philosophy of this question, actually, right?
Okay.
What I understand. See, if I'm sitting in front of you and my age is 58 years, very clearly says there is a continuity. Since I was born till today, there's a continuity. This is what all of us are, proof of. But then it is not that straightforward saying that, okay, I was born and now I'm healthy. No, not like that. We have got all vaccines in the when I was a child, and after that I was sick many times. Later on in my life I had to go through some operations also and all that, and that's why I am surviving today. Let me tell you, in nature there is nothing known as continuity. There is nothing known as continuity. Nature is always changing. It's human effort which ensures that we stay continuous. My life says that, many of us also. So this is first of all, the continuity is something like, we see a continuity of whatever we are doing or whatever is there around us, that it should continue to as much as possible with human effort. This is the continuity per se. When we speak of business continuity, then that is pretty limited. Pretty limited to the organizations only. When we call it business continuity, means business continuity got to do with the business. But pulling it back to my life, for example, isn't there any continuity even today, right now, in front of me at this point of time? Certainly there are. This headphone is there, but I've got another headphone sitting over there. If it doesn't work, I've got another one. Second
Correct.
thing, I have got some medicines which are crocin, uh, and something of those kinds. Why do I need them? Perhaps I've not used them for last 6 months, but still it is there because I may feel sick, then I will require that medicine, and that is required for continuity of my business of being here today now. This is my business of being in front of you, and for that continuity, I must have medicines over there with me. This is how we look into the continuity per se. And you will be surprised to know that right now we are working from home, so not much, but even my laptop bag today, even today, has got a small water bottle, always full, and one pouch of Nutri Nuggets. So in case of any untoward incidents, I will be able to survive for few hours or a day, 2, 3, 4, maybe possibly, right? Why I'm saying so? Because people in Gujarat earthquake survived because of that. And that is there with me. And that is what continuity I say for my life. Then whatever I do for my organization or my customer of my organization is whatever we call as the business continuity of their organization. I am a party to them. It is
Great.
their business to survive, but I am there to help them. This is how I differentiate or distinguish between the two things.
All right, great. So as I said, I'll be picking up some points I've already won, but at the same time, I'm deviating from questions because when you have given this example of your laptop bag, water bottle, and a pack of Nutri Nuggets and the medicines crocin, at home we have kept, so we, when I say we, I mean to say my wife, after having picked up few words from me about business continuity, etc., about 10 years ago, she also developed a bag. What do you call it? The survival bag, survival
Yeah.
kit, carry bag, etc., right? The battle box, a small bag in which there are some important documents, some jewelry, and some cash. Delhi shakes, Delhi shakes. Of 3, 4 times in a year, we are scared, and then that bag comes out and it's kept on the table. That if we have to run, we will run with this. No, we know that we are not supposed to run when there is an earthquake. We are supposed to stay inside. But these are basic instincts. At least that bag is ready, which after a few days of the shake again goes back to the covered because there are maids at home, so we would be scared of that being stolen, so that goes inside. So some improvements done, some improvements required, but is small example which was matching with a year back, so I thought I'll share that this is personal quantity, or we have a battle box at home. The question, having understood quantity and business quantity with examples through examples that you have narrated, Nitin, what is IT continuity? Because the topic today was IT disaster recovery. So, what is IT continuity, and how do you differentiate it from business continuity?
Okay, so that's an interesting question actually, because in industry, people mix it up actually. Business continuity and IT continuity, they take it as a common thing. People come to us, okay, they want to do business continuity for their organization, and then they ultimately, I get to know that, okay, they just want IT continuity for their systems, their setup. Now, before getting into that, let me very clearly explain. Like business continuity is a big umbrella, as we all know, and I think this word is pretty common. That it's a big umbrella, and IT continuity is part of it. Many people challenge me that, okay, no, IT is very important, and this is the business continuity. I said no, nothing doing of that kind. Let's take some examples. Let's take some examples. For example, if you are Indian Railways, whenever you go for a ticket, you go to irctc.com. So irctc.com is a front face of something which is behind. IRCTC was not there till 2000, 2002, if I'm not wrong, right? It was not there. So something was there behind, which is the actual engine of giving you the railway reservation, right? So now, right? So still, this is an example of IT continuity over there. Now, coming to the ultimate thing, let us put it this way. Let us take an example of uh, the e-lottery system or the gaming systems, right, which are there on the net. Now, what is their service? Their service is gaming. You log in on the system, pay some money, and start playing and earn money, go away, and so on. So, right. So everything and everything of their business is dependent on IT, right? So if there is something wrong with the IT systems, their whole business goes off, right? Now, coming back to the Indian Railway example, now what happens is, suppose for some reason IRCTC is not working. I'm saying IRCTC not working, which is the front face, means a delivery channel of Indian Railways is not working. You can still go to the counter and buy your tickets, right?
Right.
Now, what is this? This is having two IT systems, one core and one is front ending. And then if this goes off, the second is still there, right? I'll take another example and then we'll come back to the Indian Railway back again. Now, for
Okay.
example, if you go to, you want to book a movie show, so you go to bookmyshow.com, right? And it is not working. Then what do? You go to the counter of the cinema hall and buy the ticket over there. If IT is not there, what goes off? Nothing. Maybe somebody will be irritated, your collection will be deferred by a day or whatsoever, or 2 hours, 4 hours. What doesn't It doesn't matter anything actually. The whole thing is your cinema will continue, the cinema hall will continue, things will be done. It doesn't require IT per se, right? Having said that, is it making sense, or any question in your mind? It seems.
Me directly
No.
looking into my eyes. Yes. So I was thinking, front end in both cases is down, but we are still able to get the customer is still able to
Yeah,
get the work done. So whether it is railway ticket or whether it is cinema ticket, but
correct.
even that is being done on IT, and that could also be down.
Yeah. Then, yeah, if so, what does it mean? That means that IT is the only system without which you cannot work. Now, take another example of today's banking system of India.
Right.
Right? Now, even the branches are powered by the IT system, which are in the back end somewhere. Nobody knows where they are, right?
Right. Right.
Right. So, in case that IT system goes off, even branches can't help you, right? Now,
Right.
this is the
That's the question in
straightaway,
mind. Yes.
very clear. Right.
Yes.
So very clear. If many times this would have happened to you. You go to the branch and they say, "Sir, system nahi chal raha, sir, net nahi chal raha," and so on and
Server
so
is
on.
down.
Server is down. Typically, that means IT is not there. I can't help you. Right. So this is one example. Now again, coming to business continuity in this banking system, let me give a bigger example. I was a young service engineer way back in 1993. 1993, yes, it was, right. I was part of Data General, and one of the bank used to be there, Deutsche Bank. And it has just started, and that point of time they used to have branch banking, right? So what happened is I had gone to that branch for servicing that server over there in the branch, and something went wrong from my hand, and I got to know that okay, I have created a disaster for the bank because the branch was operating from that server and the server is down. So tomorrow bank will not start. Now the whole business will come to a crumbling halt. But did it really happen that way? Did it really happen that way? Answer is no. The next day morning, they opened the branch and did all transactions on paper.
Correct.
It's something like, since you had your checkbook with you, they know you, right? So they said, okay, up to 25,000, we'll pay cash, no challenges, no questions asked. We'll pay you. You are
Right.
giving me money, I will take money, I will give you a slip, paper slip, and tomorrow I'll honor into your account also. I saw that bank operating for one day on papers. Similarly, I have seen one travel organization, a big travel organization, issuing tickets on paper and
All
people
right.
traveling. I won't say any other words, but I saw people traveling that day and I was surprised because I was part to that event also, and I was expecting that the disaster recovery setup of that travel organization will be invoked. I was very happy. Oh my God, lovely experience in my life of having a real disaster and a real disaster invocation also. But to my surprise and heartbreak, they said,
It
no,
didn't happen.
we are not starting the DR setup. We'll do everything on paper. We know it is much better than, starting on the DR setup, having A, B, C, D reasons. We don't want to do that. We will operate on paper. So now what happens is that there is a very clear understanding. There is IT continuity. We had the data center, we had the DR data center. IT continuity was everything fine. We were ready to go, but business says, no, I will operate another way. Another way. That was the business continuity plan for in case IT is not available.
Right.
Getting my point? This is the differentiation of IT continuity and business continuity. And let me tell you, that was the day 20 years ago. Today, it is not possible. I'm telling you, it is not possible.
We have forgotten the paper.
It is not there. But on the other hand, let me tell you, let me also not take name of a manufacturing company, a car company. They say, I don't care. If your system is not there for next 10 days, I don't care because I upload my production plan in my local servers next to the production line for next 10 days. I don't care if your systems are not working. Right? So our thought like, okay, without IT, things will crumble, it will come to a halt. Yes, it is true to a lot extent, but not full. So this says then when you go and meet a customer, you have to be very clear and ask the customer, what is your business continuity possibilities? What
Right.
if your IT is not there? Then what are you going to do? How are you going to survive? This is a question that typically nobody asks the customer.
Right. Great.
This
Thanks,
is very,
Nitin. And I think we'll come back to the young engineers' aspirations a little later. I would like to touch upon that for sure once again. Next question that comes to mind is then when it comes to, as you were saying, that perhaps the right question is not asked or right question is not answered also.
yeah.
So how do you go ahead for designing an IT continuity approach for any organization?
Okay. So here I will give you two approaches. One approach of a traditional, typical solution architect who goes to the customers. Okay, how many servers, sir? How much of terabyte of storage, sir? How much of bandwidth of pipe bandwidth and all that? Huh? And we will have equal of that on the other side. And my DR setup will be working. That's fine. That is a materialistic approach, the box approach. This is not correct. The first question when I go to a customer, first question I ask, Mr. Customer, where are your users? Where are your end users? Right? And also I ask, what is the service that you are offering to your customers? Right? Let me explain this matter of service. What is this? Right? If you are, for example, holding an account, Daman, which bank do you have? Which is your bank?
Primarily SDFC Bank.
HDFC. How do you, do transactions with the bank?
Mostly online these days.
Online. Perfect. So what do you get to do an online business actually? What do you do? A laptop. And then you say
I use
HDFC.com.
laptop more than my phone for
Yeah.
banking transactions. Yes.
You go to your laptop, do HDFC.com, you get a portal coming up, then they say login,
Right.
right? And login is not working.
Right.
What is the problem? What has failed? Right? First of all, the service has failed.
All
You
right.
as a consumer wanted a service that moment I want to log into the system, it should log in. It should allow me in so that
So
I am
see,
able to see.
if I be honest, Nitin, what I get at that point in time is I don't care what is happening with the bank. To me, I'm not able to do that job, that service I'm not able to get from the bank. Whatever I want to do, whether transfer money or create another user for payments, etc., within my account, something like that. So what comes to my mind is I don't know and I don't want to know also. To
Ah,
me, it's not working. I'm not able to get the service from the bank.
I want
Right.
my service. I'm your customer. I want service. Mr.
Right.
Customer, Mr. Vendor, you are not doing service for me, and that is the basic problem. So, first question I say, where are your users and what service do you offer? Third question I ask them, what will fall if your service is not available for 2 hours? Right? And then the right answer comes out.
Okay.
Then they say, oh, yes, we can accept it. Customer will cry, that's fine. but it's okay. 2 hours is okay, 3 hours is okay. Somebody say no, it is not acceptable, right? When there is always a question of RT and RP. Will speak later on that. A
Right.
very critical example I will give you, but then I'm telling you here. So first of all, as a consumer, Daman, you want your service to be available. How
Right.
that service is coming, you don't care. You don't know also. Do you know what
Right.
is the banking system behind over there? You don't know.
I don't know. Right.
Huh? I know because I have some glimpses inside into that organization, so I know, but not full also because I'm not party to that organization also, right? But I know what could have been there. So that is a technology part. That is a person like me working in that bank to ensure that their IT systems are available, right? Now, this is the first question, right? First set of question. Who are your end users, your customers? What is the service that you offer to them? And what will happen in case that service is not available for X number of hours, right? They have an answer, they may not have an answer, and so on. It's okay. But then these are the questions. They may answer there and then they may not able to answer. Second thing I ask them that how the customers are reaching the service providing system, means the data center, right? That means the internet and so on.
Right.
How are you going to look forward to that? Don't underestimate this thing. I'll give you an example, because if you are, for example, Daman, if you are doing a railway reservation and you put your name and then you press enter and your response comes within 2 seconds, what do you say? The system is fast or slow?
Today, my expectation will be it's okay.
It's okay.
Going towards slower, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. So you want a faster response than 2
My
seconds, right?
expectation is yes.
Yes, your expectation as a customer. Suppose it takes 5 seconds,
I'll not be happy.
you will not be happy. Suppose it takes 10 seconds.
Perhaps pissed off, highly dissatisfied with the service
Yeah,
provider.
right. So one of the big factor for causing this delay is the network, right? So which is between you and the data center, right? Third thing is that okay, what something has happened on the network, it's a transient, it's okay. But then behind the systems, we have to configure the server, storage, network, etc. Whatever makes that systems working for that application to a particular sizing, right? Then I ask, in case of disaster, do you want what kind of service do you want to the customer?
All right.
Seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds? And
Right.
nobody has an answer to that question. I
All
tell you
right.
why. I tell you why they don't answer this thing. Because for them, for their CFO, maybe the DR setup is a tick mark activity.
All
They say,
right.
okay, just keep 50%, just 50% configuration, half bandwidth, and it should be okay. Kabhi, sometime in the blue moon, this will happen, so nothing to worry. Oh,
It
tab tak
has
देखेंगे, we'll see
it
that
has
day.
never happened to us in the past. It happens to competitors only. It will not happen to us. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yes, absolutely. This is absolutely the same situation which had happened during the Corona time. People always felt, oh, somebody died. I will never die.
Right.
We have seen people on the bed saying that, oh my God, I can die, and I have not even written the will. Means
Right.
coming to the business side, the CIO, CTO say, CFO say, we didn't invest for the day to day.
Right.
Right? And this is a very tough question. Why I'm saying tough question? Because CFO says, why to invest this much for a rare incident and so on. But
Right.
it all
Right.
depends. My question: what kind of service do you want to give you to your customer in case of disaster?
Right.
Now there
Correct.
can be anything is good over there also, because again that is the organizational demand actually, right? They say okay, 10 second at that point of time is okay, but if it is a competitive business, then would you like to? Answer is no. We'll come to that when we speak of RTO.
All right.
Think
Okay.
about that.
Great.
If that
Great.
question comes up.
Right. I hope. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, I know IT has huge scope. So quickly, if I think, well, I'm not an IT expert. There are servers, there are routers, there is network, all right, etc., etc. So many equipments in between. But data also is portion of IT, and there's a huge data that is being generated by all organizations per second, perhaps. So, what technologies do you suggest for data protection, which is a big concern across globe today?
Yeah. See, first of all, we have to see what kind of data is there in this organization.
Okay.
This is my next question to the customer when I go and meet them.
All right.
What kind of data do you have? For example, Daman, if you are making a new account, if you're opening a new account in a new bank, what they will do, they will ask your name, address, phone number, email ID, and so on, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then they will ask, give me a copy of your Aadhaar card,
Okay.
give me your photographs, right? Two
Right.
typical things. Now, information about you, your name, etc., etc., goes to the database of the customer relationship management.
Mhm.
The photograph doesn't go over there. The Aadhaar card copy doesn't go there. It's an image. It's a photograph, right? It's an image. It will not go there. It is typically stored in the internal storage disks of the system or into an external box, which can be a network connected storage. We call it a NAS in technical terminology, or some
Okay.
independent volume of disk volume, logical, physical, or virtual, whatsoever, but something different. So there are very clearly there are two sets of storages of data or data. I'll call it the data generations of two types now, right? One
Okay.
is your
Okay.
right one data which goes into the databases, and the other which goes to the disks of some kind of the else, right? Now, the coming to the next point, we'll come back to this disks and this thing later. How many times at 2 o'clock you have opened an account?
2 in the morning.
2 a.m. Never.
Never. Never.
And I think out over whosoever are present over here, nobody would have done that. It is typically 10 to 11, right? So you get this kind of data generated at 10, 11. Do you expect a system going down at this time, which is 10 o'clock in the morning? No way.
Peak period for the bank.
It's peak period, right?
Okay.
And whatever data is generated at this period of time in the day, you want everything to be protected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so whatever data is generated in the key moments, you need to protect anything and everything which is generated there. And I told you in gross this separation, one is database kind of data, the other is the file data which is in the some kind of disk volumes. Now these have to be replicated to the DR setup, the other remote location wherever you are protecting it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now for the databases, we don't go outside anywhere. The databases have got highly matured log shipment technology by which they replicate anything and everything which is created in that database periodically to the DR setup, right? The only thing is the frequency of sending out the data as logs has to be set by the database administrator. Okay, so this is one thing very, very common, very standard technique for carrying the data to the DR setup, saying the database logs. The other thing is the volumes, right, which are not the databases. Then there are two approaches are there. One thing is that storage systems which are offering the logical volumes to the server, they have inbuilt capabilities of replicating the data from DC side storage system to the DR side storage system, right? This is called storage based replication. So this happens. Sometimes we use third party tools also, something like Carbonite or something else, or at times we use operating system level command, something like Xcopy, Robocopy, or just copy. In
Okay.
Unix time, we used to say DD, right? So those things used to be there, and today also some new technologies are there which are doing good job of replication. So that kind of replication we do.
Okay.
So these are the three categories, right? Database, storage based replication, or third party replication, or command based replication. So this kind of replications we use typically for most of the setup. There is one more thing which is called CDP, continuous data protection, which is typically used when you have your disaster recovery setup in cloud,
Okay.
right? Like Azure Site Recovery for that matter. So that's something different that goes deep into a different kind of thing, but lovely thing. But then they have got their own problems.
All
I
right.
think,
Great.
yeah,
Great. Thanks, Nitin. So the moment you have said DR setup, terms used like DR setup, replication, then the question comes to mind, the famous RTO and RPO. If you
yes.
can, if you can help us to make that understanding clear, what is RTO, RPO? What is their relationship with each other, and how do you test these? Ultimately, customers' requirement is you're a design engineer now. I'm taking you to be IT disaster recovery specialist. So I am the customer, I am SDFC Bank. My requirement is this is what is required. You asked me some questions, I have responded to those questions. Now please let me know what to do, how to do, what are the RTO, RPOs, what is their relationship, and ultimately I want to see that I'm able to meet those. So how to test those?
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go by definition. There are many of them, even I don't remember. The key thing is RTO is the time taken to start your services after the disaster strikes.
Simplest,
And
I
then,
would say. Okay.
yeah, second definition is of RPO means how much of data loss is allowed. Now,
Simplest.
this
I
is right
understand.
the simplest thing. But let us take some example now, real lifetime example, because things are very simple when we come to very simple concepts.
Hmm.
Coming back to you, the one you use a laptop, right?
Yes. Yes.
When do you take the backup? What is the last day you had taken a backup? When did you take your last backup?
Okay. So this is my personal
Okay.
laptop. So I'm talking about this one. And I do least work on personal laptop. Most is on the official desktop. Currently being a freelancer, so all my work is on laptop. I have made a practice to take monthly backups. But in between, if I'm doing some work, for example, last 10 days or so, 2 weeks, I was attempting a new course. I was developing a new course. So every night at the end of the day, I'll just, whatever has been updated, those files I send to myself over mail.
Okay.
Backup is
Right.
monthly backup. That's what I do.
Backup. Okay. So what does it mean for you, for that matter? Huh? Right. If you had not sent your mail out or something, right? Means you took the last backup 1 month ago,
Yes, roughly 5th of month I do. Yes.
5th of month.
And this month
Today,
has been done.
yeah, it has
This
been
month
done.
has been done. Yes.
So today is 11th. 6 days ago, whatever you did, it is there. Suppose your laptop conks off right away, right now,
Right.
and your disk is powdered. How much days data do you lose? 6 days data you lose,
Right.
right?
Right.
This is the recovery point as of today in your situation.
Okay.
Got it? Huh? So if you do not do
Knowingly, I've done this. I have
huh?
been taking only monthly backups.
Ah,
Knowingly.
correct. And the other rider, you said that okay, you send out the mails every day.
Right. I do that.
Huh? So what is that happening? Why are you sending out the mails? That means you are sending out the mails maybe to the people who are asking for that, or maybe as a protective mechanism because you will take a
As a
backup.
protective mechanism, yes.
Huh?
I'm sending to myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happens is suppose the disk has gone off. Now today you have to recover your data, so you will go for the 6 days old backup,
Right.
pick up from there. Then you go to your mail and you start from the cloud mail. You will start pulling it down,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you had taken the backup at night yesterday, then what would have happened? On the disk, your disk in your hands, you would have recovered there and then.
Right.
You don't have to go back to the mail and search out and whatever it is,
Right.
right? Now, coming to the things like if you had not sent out the mail, your recovery point was 6 days, and worse could have been full 1 month, 29
Yes.
days, 30
Could
days,
have been
31
1
days.
month also. Yes.
Huh? But
Yes.
since you are doing everyday night, means your loss max will be after night, whatever you have created, that is your loss in the morning if you open your laptop.
Right. Okay. Understood.
Yeah? So now let us consider that okay, you send out your mail and you are happy with that, right? So your RPO in today's day is 8 hours.
Right.
हाँ, 8 hours because रात को 10 बजे भेजा सुबह 6 बजे तक देखा तो ठीक है 8
Roughly.
घंटे का
Right.
that much of loss if it is generated that is there. And are you happy with that? You are happy.
As of now, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you are happy. So absolutely fine. I'm not challenging anyone over here. I'm just opening the minds. I'm saying is for you 6 hours is okay because you do not do anything overnight and night yesterday night you are taken a backup. You are in good hand. So you are happy. You are perfectly okay. Huh? But is it a possibility that okay you reduce it down to 1 hour or 2 hours? Then you have to send out mails every 1 hour, right? You do something whatever it is every hour you send out a mail.
I need to remain. I need to remain up in the night.
Yeah,
After
right.
10, at 12, then at 2, and then 4, I need to send my
Correct. So now what happens
mails.
is you are very clear that I am okay to lose data for 6 hours which I am not working. This is the RPO, recovery point of objective for you.
Right.
Right. Okay. Now coming to the, you know, when you said that one more example, right? That you say you were creating a new training program or something. So
Right.
you were writing something.
Right.
During writing, your laptop can conked off,
Right.
right? Then you have to rewrite whatever you wrote in the last 2 hours, 3 hours.
Right.
है ना?
Right.
Suppose you have to write for 8 hours, then you're lost at writing of 8 hours. Then what? Is it acceptable to you?
Maybe difficult depending on what I was writing.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
I have some notes on paper based on which I write, and sometimes I have something in mind only. I don't
Ah,
even write on the paper. Yeah.
correct. So it will be. So I ask a direct question. How about if what is your dream RPO now? Dream RPO.
Zero.
Zero. Zero is pretty costly. Let's increase this period. 1 hour, 2 hours.
Yeah. Couple
But
of
you
hours.
can
Right.
rewrite actually, right? Because everything is in memory fresh. So for you, you have defined that 2 hours of loss of data is okay with me. I will rewrite. This is
Right.
your required, demanded RPO.
Right.
Actually, it is not because you send out the mail yesterday night. After that, you have not done anything. And 12 o'clock today, while working, things have gone. So you would lost data what you created after 9 a.m. Right?
Right.
So you have to send out mails every 2 hours now.
Right.
Got it?
Right.
Because your RPO has changed. So you have to define your technology to protect your data.
All right.
Got it? Now, can a bank expect or accept a loss of data for 2 hours?
Depending on what data it is, I mean, I
Okay.
would say.
So I say that there is a fire in the data center, everything gone. So
Right.
there's no distinction. But we'll come to that also. But then that means bank cannot live like that. Stock exchange will not live like that because every transaction over there typically is money in stock exchanges, right? You
Right.
buy a share, you sell the share, there's a money transfer. You cannot lose any of the transactions actually. It's a hard
Okay.
part.
Okay.
For banking, they will certainly say, okay, 2 hours data loss, come to us with your accounts and whatever slips you have got with you, and we will honor you. They have that is their business continuity plan. So this is all about recovery point objective, that how long or how much of data loss an organization can accept. That is the
Okay.
RPO defined by that organization, right? Now, having said that, coming back to your example, your laptop conked off, disk has gone, and now you are calling up the service center saying that my laptop conked off. They say, welcome, yes, we will provide you the free laptop replacement, but it will come tomorrow. Huh? So they say, okay, fine, because we will give you laptop, but it has to come from somewhere. We are not stocking for you because you are not our prime customer. You're not paid for 24 by
Right.
7 support. So your laptop will come tomorrow. Huh? And then you will have to install operating system and pull down the data after that. So you will typically be ready by maybe tomorrow evening.
Which becomes my RTO,
That is your RTO in real life.
which means RPO 2 hours, but RTO could be 8, 10, 24 hours, something like that,
Yeah.
which means both need not be or cannot be same. Both are different,
Both they are very different. They're very different. One thing is how fast you bring up your services, your laptop.
which
Huh?
is
And
RTO.
yeah, because if you that is RTO, how fast you bring up your laptop. So
Mhm.
laptop coming to you, you installing the operating system, installing the application or whatsoever, whatever MS Office or whatnot, that takes 24 hour, 36 hour. That is your base RTO. You can start your action once again, but you do not have the data yet. You
Right.
have to copy the data also. That also adds up. Then only you will be able to come to a situation saying that I am the same state as I was there 24 hours ago.
Okay.
So the time taken to start servicing to the end user, end customer is your RTO.
All right.
Now coming to the point, typically I'll tell you what it is. What is the RTO? What is the RPO for banks by RBI guidelines? It is 0 minutes. Means
Okay.
no data loss is allowed across services. I'm telling you, it's not like BI services. Okay, it's okay if there is a loss, it's okay. No, it's not loss. It's not like that. It is zero RPO across all kind of data,
Okay.
for all banks in India. And recovery time is typically 1 to 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Coming back to another thing, RTO starts only when the bank says, yes, this is a disaster. Thereafter, the RTO starts counting. Then they will
Thank you.
call Nitin Vaidya, my system is down. Please do something to start my service from the DR setup.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I like that. Yes, I agree with you.
yeah, yeah.
Great.
There are
Thanks.
more to talk about that also, but if it is.
Yes,
So
I
I'll
want
give
to
you
check
one
with.
critical example of RTO and RPO. I'm telling you, bank. I told you RBO and RTO. There was uh, uh, a company which was selling small units but huge numbers. They say, Nitin, I can't afford to see my systems down. I sell 30,000 units per hour. My systems have to be up and alive within 5 minutes of disaster.
Okay.
But whatever I've done in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't care. I will give them free. I'll not charge them. I'm happy with that. But
Okay.
my system should be up because I sell 30,000 units every hour. If my system is not there, then the guy standing in front of the shopkeeper, he will buy my competitor's product and he may find that product better than mine also. I'll lose this customer forever in life. So this
Okay.
customer was very critical. 5 minutes RTO. Can you imagine? And RPO said, okay, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I don't care.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Thank you very much. Professor Ayushi, can we take 10 minutes extra?
What is the time?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Right. Great. Thanks. So, Nitin, let's time that next 10 minutes we finish our discussions and then we keep about 10-15 minutes for questions. I'm sure there will
Yeah.
be some questions in people's mind. I've heard of this, but I have not understood this term called headless chickens. Is it related to business continuity? I have heard, but I have not understood, or is it IT disaster recovery? Anyway, I have not understood this. So if you can spend, is it a valid term? Is it established term? Is it in India only? Is it global? Something like that.
It's a term well established. It's a global term, right?
Okay.
And the
What is a
point
headless chicken?
is, see, people who go to the butcher and buying the chicken, fresh chicken, they know that, okay, once they cut off the head, they put it into a drum actually. If they do not do that, this chicken will wander left, right, up, down, not knowing what it is doing.
All right.
Head is not there, but chicken is running around actually,
Still alive.
still alive.
Okay.
Because the heart is beating, something is happening. The brain to decide is not there, but things are happening. This chicken keeps running around actually. People would
Sorry.
have seen that also. Some
Are
of
you talking of our crisis management teams and top managements or what?
anybody and everybody. Anybody and everybody. I'm telling you, if you're not practiced, anybody and everybody will be a headless chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I have got experience. I've seen all of that happening in front of me. Typically, how does it happen is we do a number of drills. We know what to do. We know who is the crisis management team. At that point of time, the crisis management teams does not know, despite having practiced something, because when the real disaster happens, they उनके in Hindi they say हाथ पैर फूल जाते हैं.
Right.
There is some hero stands up with a sword saying that, okay, let me tell you what it is. The whole of the plan of action goes to a side, and then they say, oh, do it this way, do it that way, and so on, and the people are confused. My plan was as per the plan. I had to do this thing, but this guy is saying, no, 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 do that thing. Then everybody comes to a chaos, and then not one but many headless chickens are there.
All right. So you're emphasizing on having plans and arrangements, but also testing those.
And testing and having practicing a cool mind in case of a disaster. I'm telling you, jo ho gaya so ho gaya. Whatever happened has happened. Nothing can be done about that. But now hereafter, everything is in our hands to come back to the graceful state.
Okay. Okay.
That's headless chicken.
Right. Now, while I had said that we'll come back, I'll come back to that. I've forgotten which portion was that, but I guess it was linked to partial or full invocation. What would you advocate? You had given an example around that.
Um, yeah, because I spoke about that. This is the typical question a customer asks, and I also ask, and rather I say, disaster is a disaster, right? It is full actually. You just do not go around for small things like for one system failing because of one server failure or some load balancer failure, this is something to be recovered within the data center because disaster has not happened, not yet, right? But sometime it so happens that okay, the whole rack has toppled for whatsoever. There was an earthquake and the whole rack has toppled. Then rest of the racks are okay, but one rack has fallen, and then some of the systems are down. In that situation, only we allow partial switchover of the services, not all. It all depends how strongly these applications are coupled together.
Okay.
Because two applications, when they are talking together, they are connected, they're communicating, they're transferring data between each other, and for protection purposes, they are across firewalls, depending upon the policy. When you take this piece of application to the other data center, for sure you have to cross firewalls. Now you must have those rules functioning at that point of time. And typically it happens despite some headless chicken will open 10 ports, but 5 they will not open, and then the whole system will go into chaos.
Okay.
Then there is a so my suggestion is please define disaster, invoke it with full understanding, and then rather move the whole thing rather than piece.
All right.
Oh, it might create much more bigger disasters.
So which still brings the importance of having written down plans, procedures, and then testing those,
Absolutely.
having practiced those. Okay.
Practiced, yes.
So while we talked of RTO, RPO, recovery time objective and recovery point objective, Nitin, perhaps we missed to discuss, or I missed to ask the question, which is the doubt in mind always. Business continuity and ITDR go hand in hand. We have said that business continuity is bigger umbrella. IT disaster recovery is part of that. We have said that, right? But when we say business impact analysis and risk assessment, BIA and RA, are these required to be conducted for IT also, or IT continuity also, or is that part of business continuity only?
My view, very clear, is part of business continuity. And as I said, IT continuity is a subset of business continuity.
Right.
And depending upon how big role the IT plays for the business, automatically the BIA and RA will find out what is the criticality of this IT system, and within that IT system also the sub application set.
Okay.
So it all comes from the business impact analysis, which is happening at the business continuity level.
Okay.
So, right. So very clearly, I'm telling you, CIO, CTOs are not supposed to be part of that BIO. The business people are supposed to be there.
That is a big one. Yeah. Right. Please,
Because
if you can spend few more minutes on that, that'd be great. I
yeah,
understand what you're saying, but if you can explain, yes, please.
I tell you, when I go to the customer, when they typically the customer would have done their BIRA, and then they have told the CIO you have to set up and all that. And CIO is a animal who stands between me and the business guys. I ask my customer, why do you have an RTO of 1 hour or 2 hour? Why cannot you have 3 hours?
Right.
Because in my understanding, you can live with that. He says, no, nothing doing. I am telling you. I said, can I go and speak to your business guys whose ownership is there to make money from this service? No, you are not supposed to do that. Why? Because business guy knows he can do something. And 2 also, or 4 are also, he is not going to, the sky is not going to fall for
Right.
his piece of business. And he tells as much things to his CIO also, but CIO says, if I tell it to Nitin Vidya will design a solution which will go for 4 hours. And in case it takes 4.5 hours, I will be beaten up. So he gives me a much stronger RTO and RPO so that he can sleep happily. So this is something like, creating undue load, undue tension in the system and all that.
All right.
So this is my view is, but very
Great.
clearly to your answer, it is done at the business continuity level.
Great. Thank you very much. The last one, Nitin, if you can spend a couple of minutes on that. And when I say last only because the session is for an hour. We are happy to come back. I'm sure if you request, Nitin, you'll be happy to spare time once again for us for IEEE platform. The question that comes to mind is, while we close the session, any tips, good practices, or guidelines for CIOs, CTOs, heads of IT departments with respect to The topic today is IT disaster recovery.
First message to all CXOs is that, gentlemen, you are not gods. Your word is not a word.
I like that. Yeah,
You're not gods.
let's not
Other,
forget that.
yeah. And do not go by your whims and fancies, right? Have a very practical, achievable RTOs and RPOs and your IT systems. Do not try to save money there. This is my message flatly. I'll tell you critical 2-minute example. See, if you, for example, Daban, if your bank is not working, you call them up, right? And that system is, not well configured in the DR setup. So you call them, but you are in the queue now, and you have to wait for 10 minutes. Will you be happy?
Uh-huh.
Normally, you will get a response in 1 minute, and now today, you are much more upset. First of all, things are not working. Second, nobody is
Exactly.
responding to me. So your
Exactly.
setup has to be absolutely same, which is there in the DC with
All right.
whatsoever. No cutting corners. This is the message to CXOs.
Okay.
Second thing, don't try to be phantoms. Many times people they come to me and say, Nitin, I will test it by pulling out cable. I'll pull off the power. I said, gentlemen, don't do that. No, I will do that. Unless you sign that, I will not give you the contract. I said, okay, I will do it, but you have to sign that in case of data loss, you are responsible. At best, what you will do is you will penalize me and my organization, but your company is not going to, your organization is going to take your job. Bloody, these are not to be tested like this. These are hard moments for hard times. You have to prepare for that, not to do create a disaster by pulling cables. That's
All
not a
right.
good idea.
Right.
That's
Right.
the third message to CXOs.
Good. I'm happy to know that from you, Nitin. That's why the course that I was talking about, that course actually is resiliency testing.
Ah,
According to me, designing a test is an art. Just like storytelling is an art, designing, developing, and delivering a test is an art, and you need to spend a good time on that.
yeah,
Agree with me?
absolutely.
Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nitin, for your time. I'm sure there are more questions. I have more questions in mind. While we discuss, I noted few more questions. Perhaps we cannot deal with all today, but we want to give time to the participants also. Thanks once again. And back to Professor Ayushi. If there are any questions, then Nitin will be happy to attempt the
Thank you so much,
responses.
sir. Thank you for the enlightening, interactive deliberation, I must say. Daman sir and Nitin Vaidya sir took it very wonderfully. I think Daman sir has covered almost all areas, but still, I have received one important question that I would like to address. May I, with it, with your permission from you, with Nitin sir?
Yeah, please continue. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we are here for.
So the question is, how do IT disaster recovery plans address both natural disasters and human-made disasters such as cyber attacks or sabotage?
That's very interesting thing. See, the most of the if you are any like Daman knows from the BCI, right? There's a charge which says that what are the causes of disasters. Earthquakes are not major cause of disasters, not at all. They are way behind. The biggest thing the human created actually, right? And this ransomware kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
uh, Handling ransomware kind of thing that too, again in human made is something like by mistake, and typically that we have seen happening in the datas, right? I think British Airways were down for 3 days. They had to shell out $2 billion because something happened and their data storage system was not functional, and they had the disaster created over there, right? That's one. That was a mistake maybe. Some time ago, there was a problem when our Teams and mail was not working. They say there was some routing problem here and there. It's a human, not intended problem, but it created a problem. Created human, willingly something like ransomware. Ransomware is a very different thing and comes to it's a now this is a merging of the boundaries of continuity, right? So far, so we always used to say fire, earthquake, this and that, right? Now, but human issues, for example, by mistake, Ayushi, if you are a database administrator and by mistake you have deleted some tables in the database, along with the log movements, it will go to the DR site also. So gone. Right now, you had to fall back onto the backup that was taken yesterday.
Exactly.
Getting it clear? Ransomware, coming to that. Ransomware is something very, very dangerous. I'm telling you, ransomware even now must be lurking into many systems, many organizations, and they don't know. And when the ransomware attack is there, what is the plan of action? Power of everything. Rule number one: power of everything. Second thing, dissociate the whole of the network. Then bring up the systems, and then you find out what was the cause of this problem. And this may take not hours, days, weeks, months, and companies go down like that actually. So for that continuity has got something very different designs also, right? This is called they call it as vault, right? So they will keep a copy into very isolated system for very critical data. Cannot do for 2 petabytes of data, not possible. But very critical business data. Now this comes the BI and RA has decided, okay, this application is my core. If I lose it, I've gone. That goes to the vault. And then there are technologies how we do that. How do we check it out? How do we find out the forensics and so on? So this is how it is handled, right? I hope in nutshell I'm able to answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a great learning. One more opinion I think my participant requires from you. He has raised the question. How do you prioritize which systems and applications to recover first in a disaster?
Okay. Okay, let's take an example of banking, right? The core of the banking is the core banking system, right? Infosys banking system is there, or Quad's banking system, or what. So this is a core banking system, right? That is the core. If that is not there, everything will fall off. Then there are payment systems. Payment systems are something like if I transfer 100 rupees to you, Ayushi, that goes through the payment system. Then the third system is channels. Channel is ATM, where you go, the mobile banking, internet banking. These are the channels. Got it? So what happens is, the first of all, when the disaster strikes, I have to bring up my core banking system, because if it is not there, we cannot do anything. Second thing is, I have to start the payment systems, because people would have initiated their transactions, and they must be waiting in the queue. So that is the second thing. Third thing is the channels, whereby you can access the banking system, the core banking system, using your internet or mobile or ATM, right? In core nutshell, this is the answer. So there is always a sequencing depending. Now, for that, you must understand the business process of that organization, right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, sir, for deliberating it so nicely. I'm really having so many comments that it was a very wonderful session and very helpful to us. So participants are very likeable towards this session and the interactive information being shared by you. I thank
Professor
you.
Aishi,
And yes, sir.
I'll take 2 minutes
Yes, sir.
to close
Sure.
the session. Thank you very much. Very important, because I said in the beginning, a session on business continuity and IT disaster recovery starts with those data, facts and figures. So many companies go down within so many hours or days of a disaster, etc. That's why the importance of IT disaster recovery. We didn't touch upon that. But I'm sharing a link with all of you in the chat box. It's about 18 minutes video. Please look at this video. You will be proud of yourselves. You'll be proud of the country. This talks about the progress story of the country. If the country is progressing, which means usage of IT, we have been using a word called digitization. Usage of IT is increasing, which means chances of IT failures are increasing. That's what the importance of IT disaster recovery is in simplest words, according to me, without sharing those facts and figures that we have been used to in the past. Please do watch this video. This is an excellent video in the country, about the country. Thank you very much. Back to you, Professor Ayushi.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Professor M.N. Huda, sir, I think sir is already here. Good evening, sir.
Has he have been able to join?
Sir, he is somewhere
Yeah,
out.
good evening. Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, everyone. How are
Hello,
you?
Professor Hoda. Good
I'm at
evening.
Good evening, Mr. Nitin. Good evening, my friend, Mr. Daman. I'm at Pune and just whole day packed schedule just came to my room. So just outside my room.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I missed your session, Mr. Nitin, but I remember the kind of the fondness and the passion you have with the topic, and I will go through with the video recording. The beauty to this webinar is the entire video recording is available at our YouTube. So those participants who wanted to repeat the session, they can always repeat it with the help of the video recording available at our YouTube channel. Ayushi will share the link of the YouTube channel. And thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. Even if I'm not there, my team members, Ayushi, and above all, Mr. Daman, who incidentally is the first speaker of the first ever webinar of this series. That is the beauty to Mr. Daman. So even if I am not there, that absence can be substituted by Mr. Daman. So thank you so much.
This is Professor Hoda. This is the best example of business continuity, service continuity, IT disaster recovery that we could have said. Great.
But despite all disaster recovery solutions are there. So don't worry.
Thank you, Professor Hoda, and my pleasure being here.
Thank you so
Nitin
much.
sir, please accept this memento from BBI Camp family as a gratitude towards you. Also, Daman sir, one for you. Please accept the same.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Can I come over and take it? I'm not very far away from you, just 200 meters.
Anytime, sir.
It is only for the remembrance that you have been part of such a nice and lovely session, and which is in itself an example of sustainability despite all disaster and all odds, right?
Perfect.
Also, Nitin sir and Daman sir, a certificate as a token of gratitude for you.
Again, as part of
Thank you for giving
remembrance, this
us time.
certificate is.
Thank you.
This keeps us reminding about the webinar series.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
Pleasure,
much.
sir.
Thank you all the dear participants and the distinguished panelists to sparing us time and giving us time, joining us all through our webinars. For more updates, you can visit our website and all the important links are there on our chat window. Please access the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll log off
Thank
now
you.
with your
So much.
permission.
Again.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Dear
And
participants, this
dear
video. Yes.
Go ahead, Yushi. Go ahead. No problem.
Dear participants, please find the feedback form link on the chat window. Also, dear participants, all important details are there on the chat window, link of our YouTube channel, of our review page. Every important details are there on the YouTube channel. I'm sharing the same once again. Please subscribe to the same for important regular updates. Also, you may tap onto the feedback form link and fill up the same for smooth generation of your certificate of participation for today's webinar. Dear participants, if you face any problem in generating your certificate of participation, you may write us on the chat window. We would be happy to help you. But once we close the window, we may not be able to help you with regard to your certificate of participation. So I request all my dear participants who have joined us today, sparing time for us, please generate your certificate of participation. Thank you, Harjinder sir. Thank you for joining us. Glad to see you all through our webinars.
I missed one or two because of other meetings. Otherwise, I'm waiting for Saturdays. Yeah.
Right, sir, right. Dear participants, the link for the feedback form is generated and there on the chat window. I have shared the same. Again, please find the link from the chat window, dear
Okay,
participants.
thank you, Ashish.
Also, dear participants, you are requested to enter your correct data as you require it in your certificate for smooth automated generation of your certificate of participation for today's webinar. Dear participants, I repeat once again, Please enter your correct data. Also, you are requested to enter a Gmail ID as the auto system generates it directly to the ID given by you. So, dear participants, please tap onto the link, fill up the feedback form, and generate your certificate of participation for today's webinar. I again thank you all for joining us, giving us time. You may register for our upcoming webinars visiting to our site. The link of the same is there on the chat window. Pramod sir, we are looking towards your certificate. I'll ask my team to generate it. All those participants who are facing problem in generating their certificate, they may write on the chat window, because once we close the window, we may not be able to help you with generating of certificate of participation. The link is active only till the window is open.